Hokage, Uchiha Prodigy unlocks ultimate analysis system. Episode 81, Toad Big Toad. This contract scroll of Mount Mayaboku was obtained by chance during a mission in Umbu. I didn't figure out what this thing was at first. It was so bulky and I wanted to throw it away, until I accidentally knocked it over, and the scroll was spread all over the floor. He didn't realize that this was the contract scroll of Mount Mayaboku. Although Mount Mayaboku is one of the 3 great fairy lands, he really can't get along with those toads. He has a psychological shadow. Those are toads. Also called toads, scabies, toads. There are poisonous glands inside. The back is full of bumps. Not frogs. Even a normal-sized toad would feel disgusting and pervasive if it was as big as a house. I dare not even think about it. That is to say, if you look at it on the screen, if you put it in reality, it will be really scary. This kind of thing should be rejected decisively. Not to mention the 3 great immortals. Even if the Sage of 6 Paths came, he would not sign it. I heard that Jiraiya likes heavy flavors, so thank you in advance. Jiraiya, this is a contract scroll for one of the 3 great immortal lands. Your future contact will be at the immortal level. I advise you to make a decision quickly. There is a broad road ahead, so don't narrow the road. Fairy? My god. Then say a hammer. Jiraiya didn't say anything, and didn't need a pen. She just bit her finger and wrote her name with blood. Also 3 big characters, plus 5 fingerprints. The contract is signed. It is considered complete. Then, all it takes is the seal of the summoning technique, and he can build a bridge with the Mount Mayaboku toad. Uchiha Hiko is a set of bagged churches, and by the way, taught Jiraiya the summoning technique of Mount Mayaboku. Come on, try what you can summon. Hearing this, Jiraiya hurriedly made a madra while the wound on her hand was still bleeding. Then, it slammed to the floor. Snapped. Summoning technique. With the chakra gushing out of his body crazily, a connection was formed instantly, and a cloud of white smoke spread out in front of him. This is in the ward of the Konoha hospital, but Uchiha Hiko is not worried, because he knows that with Jiraiya's current chakra capacity, it is impossible to summon a large toad even if he uses the milking power. Sure enough, when the smoke cleared, what appeared in front of Jiraiya was a green toad with colorful makeup. Looking at that appearance, I almost didn't make people whole. Quack? This is it? The green toad squinted his eyes proudly and asked, how can there be humans here? Could it be that someone summoned me to the human world? Listening to that voice, it's neither male nor female, it's ugly anyway. Uchiha Hiko subconsciously took a few steps back. Jiraiya seems to be born with a wonderful connection with the toad. Looking at the ugly big toad up close, he didn't feel scared. Instead, wow. This toad can actually talk. The green-skinned toad looked at Jiraiya. Oh? Is this the human who summoned me? But, why do you look so weak? What's your name? Weak? This is a forbidden word in Jiraiya. My uncle and even Jiraiya. You say I'm weak, why don't you look at yourself? Jiraiya pointed to the green-skinned toad in front of him, and said to Uchiha Hiko, Yen, is this the summoning beast from the fairyland? I think it's okay. Uchiha Hiko continued to take 2 steps back, so as not to be blinded by the green-skinned toad. That's really not good, you can try again. It may be the first time you are not proficient, and you failed to summon a serious fighting-style toad. Jiraiya nodded as if realizing something, and then said apologetically to the green-skinned toad, I'm sorry, I need stronger ones. As he spoke, he made another seal and slapped the floor. Boom. However, this time the smoke is pitifully small, not as big as the first time. The more things that come out of summoning, the more ridiculous they are. There are only a few tadpoles. What's going on here? Your chakra is not enough. Here, I will reward you with this special military food pill. After taking Bitesy Bing Liang pill, Jiraiya's chakra recovered quickly. After a while, he stood up again. This time, he closed his eyes and contemplated the mystery of the summoning technique. After thinking for a long time, he decided to leave the ward. Or this ward is too oppressive, he can't play it out. The 2 came to the open space of Konoha Hospital. Jiraiya was wearing a hospital gown, but the excitement on her face was probably more than that of a drug addict. Immediately, he quickly closed the seal. Summoning technique. This time, it was a summoning technique he blocked Zune to come. Asking for flowers. It is also a call to block all chakra. Boom. The huge smoke dissipated, revealing its true face. That's it? Uchiha Hiko, who was watching from a distance, silently took a few steps back. A 10-meter-tall toad will ask you if you are afraid. This has nothing to do with combat strength, mainly psychological factors. I saw that the smoke dissipated, and the exposed toad was covered with red lines, and the upper part of the eyes was even more raised, showing a fierce look. It is more than 10 meters high, which is equivalent to a 3-story house. It is much better than the green-skinned disgusting toad just now. Such a huge monster frightened some people who were hospitalized in my hospital for another month. Ah, there really is a new contractor. It's a bit impolite to call me from the very beginning, the big toad said, big and loud. This voice is like broadcasting to the entire Konoha hospital. Jiraiya is so excited. Looking at the huge toad, he fantasized about his chic and invincible fighting posture in his heart, and he got wet. Ahahaha, Jiraiya, can finally become a powerful ninja. He was laughing maniacally. In this three-person team, it's not that he doesn't know his own food, and he often lags behind. But what can I do? Orochimaru is a genius, he knew it from the time he entered school. Tsunade is the descendant of Senju and Uzumaki again. Constitution is different from ordinary people, of course. Jiraiya still doesn't understand what it means to combine Senju and Uzumaki. He only knows that Tsunade's physical fitness is extremely strong. Stronger than all boys. Under such circumstances, what can he compare with? I can only chat with Orochimaru, find some sense of presence. But, starting today, he can counterattack. With such a powerful summoning beast, his combat ability is to sit on a rocket and drive directly to become the second Titan. Ha, hello big toad, my name is Jiraiya, what's your name? Jiraiya asked the 10-meter-tall giant toad after learning how to communicate with the last green-skinned toad. Hearing the small voice, the giant toad looked around for a while, and finally landed on one place. I didn't expect that my contractor turned out to be. Episode 82, Licking and Dogs, Reincarnation continues, you lick. When the giant toad moved, the house in Konoha Hospital trembled. Those Konoha shinobi players, both open and secret, jumped onto the roof immediately, and looked at the big toad defensively one by one. They had no idea what it was, and thought someone had invaded Konoha village. Not good, stop this monster quickly, it is heading towards that child over there. Tom. The giant toad looks bloated, but it still moves very fast. This is a shock to those Konoha shinobi lovers. They figured out the trajectory of the giant toad, looked straight ahead, and saw a boy with black hair and black eyes standing there. This huge toad didn't attack even though there was a living ninja in front of it, instead it rushed towards the boy in the remote corner. Brain pit? Suddenly, a Konoha shinobi with good eyesight recognized the figure in the far corner. Kibashang, that's Master Uchiha Hiko. Uchiha Hiko? Hearing this name, everyone stopped in their tracks. Is that Uchiha Hiko who killed Kakuzu? Yeah, look, it's right there. Everyone looked at it, and the stone in their hearts was put down. Since it is him, then this toad is not a certainty. However, Uchiha Hiko's heart is 100,000 mud horses galloping past. Damn. Why is this ugly toad running towards Lousy? Jiraiya, did you grow up with dung? Call me away. Man of Steel Uchiha Hiko, he can kill hundreds of people without changing his face. He can cut off the enemy's neck with a single sword, and talk and laugh happily. But when he saw the huge, disgusting, smelly toad, Sharingan was scared out of his wits. If he was touched by that thing, he could spit out last year's New Year's Eve dinner. Blinking technique. Immediately, he opened the distance with the body flicker technique and jumped onto the high roof. Toad's eyes are very capable of capturing dynamic objects. Those horizontal pupils almost locked on Uchiha Hiko's figure, turning around. At this moment, Jiraiya is on the way. The huge toad stared at Uchiha Hiko, suddenly felt that something was wrong. It could not perceive any contractual connection from the person in front of it. A few minutes ago, it was listening to stories at Mount Myoboku. The old toad in the cave didn't know why he was so energetic today, so he came out to tell everyone about his past. Before the story was over, it was summoned to Konoha village. Preconceived, it found the pupil power person at the first time. Thought, that's the human summoning it. At this moment, Jiraiya ran out of breath to the feet of the giant toad. What? Toad looked down at Jiraiya, with a look of disappointment on his face. What? It turned out that the one who summoned me was not the one with the pupil power, but this daredevil? Hello, Hoochie, I am Jiraiya. Jiraiya said breathlessly. Summoning a summoning beast of this tonnage consumes a lot. Being able to persist in running over here is considered a high spirit. Unexpectedly, the huge toad said disdainfully, Lousy doesn't care what your name is, what does it have to do with me? Tell you, don't think that you can summon casually after signing the contract. If you disturb me again next time, I will kill you. Hello. Jiraiya looked up at the majestic figure of the toad. With such a large body, he knew that he was very powerful, but sure enough, the temper is the same as Yen said. Hey! Big toad. What is your name? What's the name? My name is Jiraiya, I summoned your other toad just now, shall we get to know each other too? Lousy is not called Big Toad, Lousy is called Wu Tai. Toad Wu Tai. Wu Tai, you still have such a name of hockey. It's amazing. Jiraiya looked like he was licking a dog, which was really realistic. Since you summoned Lousy by coincidence, so be it, I remember your chakra, don't summon me next time. The giant toad looked down on Jiraiya, then raised his head again, facing someone on the roof. Hey. Pupil, I think you are very suitable for me, why don't you sign a contract with me? boy, our Mount Mayaboku toad has experience in cooperating with pupils. Want to become stronger? The tone contrast before and after, yin and yang strange. When talking to Jiraiya, I can't wait to trample Jiraiya to death. When talking to Uchiha Hiko on the roof, I can't wait to sign on the spot. Jiraiya looked up expectantly and looked at Uchiha Hiko on the roof, that expression, as if his wife had been kidnapped. However, Uchiha Hiko on the roof silently stepped back again, refusing, no, I don't think we are suitable, and I don't like toads very much. Good one doesn't like toads very much. The jaws of several Konoha shinobi players, not far away, fell to the ground. I heard about Mount Mayaboku just now, right? Well, if I heard correctly, it should be linked together as Mount Mayaboku Toad. The legendary place. The legendary place has become true. But, why Master Uchiha Hiko? Toad Wutai was rejected, but he didn't change his face when he meets someone or something he likes. He is quite bold. Young man, it's okay if you don't like toads. I'm a Mount Mayaboku Toad. I see you're carrying a knife. In fact, I know a little bit of swordsmanship. Besides swordsmanship, I also know water style, fire style. In short, there are countless abilities and tricks. How about it? Do you know how powerful this martial arts master is? Toad Wutai? Well. What's the matter, wish well? I was wondering, do you know a toad named Wutai? The giant toad was shocked. You actually know my cousin's name. But he hasn't been summoned yet. You. How did you know? Just ask, Masaka. You have the same predictive ability as the great toad sage? I actually met a genius like you. Hurry up, oh no, I invite you to sign a contract with our Mount Mayaboku toad. Uchiha Hiko frowned, without any thought, directly refused. I refuse. 48 After you sign the contract with me, you will know the benefits of our Mount Mayaboku. You will definitely be interested. No sign. Well, boy, you are still young. If you are an experienced ninja at this time, he will definitely sign a contract with me. What is our Mount Mayaboku? Then it is one of the 3 great fairy lands. If you have the opportunity to meet me, you will be counted as you lucky. It's awesome, but don't sign it. Hey, you kid, I advise you to sign. Now you may not like me, but you will understand the benefits of me in the future. Our Mount Mayaboku toad fought side by side with your ancestors, not to mention anything else. If you sign with us today, you can call me if you have anything to do in the future. Hehe. Episode 83, Toad Mountain is shocked. Jiraiya looks up at the Mount Mayaboku toad that she summoned with all her strength. Do I have to look at you with disappointment, JPG? Does the book say that licking the dog licks everything in the end? That stalwart toad is like the big ocean horse in front of him. He spent money, worked hard, and invited it out. But in front of him, that big ocean horse became someone else's licking dog. And it's still a proud-licking dog. Hey, don't do it in front of me, okay? Jiraiya shouted out to this hateful world. Hear the sound. The giant toad glanced down. Then when a gust of wind blew under the crotch, nothing happened. Then it continued to say to Uchiha Hiko, I don't have many people, you are one of them. I hope you think about it. You see, I am so strong now. In a few years, I can still grow up bigger. When you encounter difficulties and call me out, what a card. If it doesn't work, I'll call my wife too. Uchiha Hiko looked at Jiraiya, who was full of frustration below, and shook his head helplessly. This giant toad is really disrespectful, letting the contractor stay below, but he is pulling foreigners up above. Scumbag toad. The summoning technique has a time limit. After the giant toad babbled, even Konoha's Umbu circled around, but it failed to convince Uchiha Hiko. Boom. A puff of white smoke drifted past. Jiraiya stood there dejectedly, wearing a hospital gown and messy hair, looking like a escape from a mental hospital. Oh, forget it. He gave up the idea of going down to comfort Jiraiya and turned to leave. Jiraiya's talents in other aspects, in his opinion, are very average. Orochimaru can quickly master ninjutsu skills that take him a long time. And Mount Mayaboku is Jiraiya's opportunity and the pivot to change his destiny. Whether he can get rid of mediocrity and catch up with Orochimaru's progress depends on his next fortune. The road has been pointed out to him, and the rest needs to be walked by himself. After Toad Takeda returned to Mount Mayaboku, immediately saw Fukasaku Sanjin. Maybe this Fukasaku sage is the only frog in the entire Mount Mayaboku. There seems to be something wrong with the prophecy of the great toad sage. Although someone from our family was summoned out, why was it me? Immortal Fukasaku stepped forward and said, well, what the great toad sage predicted was that the child would contact your family members. It might be you, it might be Wintai, it's not wrong. Moreover, the great toad sage also said, there are other things. One possibility is that the child fell into Mount Mayaboku by himself. No, I didn't mean that. The giant toad shook its head. Of course, it's okay to call it a giant toad in Konoha village, but it can only be regarded as a well-behaved creature here on Mount Mayaboku. I met Tonly by. Oh, the pupils? Fukasaku Immortal couldn't help but frowned. What pupils? There is no mention of pupils in the prophecy. Yeah, not in the prophecy. But I see that boy, just like in the past stories that the great Toad Sage told us, his body hides extremely strong power among human beings, should be considered the elite of the elite? Sento Fukasaku nodded, since it's your judgment, it must be it. So I tried to convince him to sign a contract with us. Immortal Fukasaku suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Well, it's a good thing for the elite of human beings to sign a contract with us, right? And then? Mrs. Toad looked embarrassed. Well, old man, don't worry, I did invite him, but refused. Nanny? Fukasaku Sento raised his eyebrows. How dare anyone refuse an invitation from Mount Myaboku Toad? More than that, he also asked me if I knew Mrs. Wen. What? He actually knows about Wen Tai has always been by my side and has never been summoned out. How could he know? Immortal Shinzwa was shocked again. At the same time, an ordinary toad with a pattern very similar to the giant toad jumped over. This toad is a little bit worse than Jiraiya. It is a toad named Wen Tai. Yeah, I haven't seen a human yet. This son, it's unbelievable. Immortal Shinzwa often breathed out, thinking something in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that the great Toad Sage was tired at this time and went back to sleep, otherwise he really wanted to consult. Well, old man, why don't we reverse summoning first and call the guy who signed the contract over here? I've noticed that the guy who signed the contract is a partner with that mysterious pupil power man, so he must be able to ask something. The minister-shaped toad suggested. Immortal Fukasaku rubbed his chin. It doesn't matter if you have strong pupils or not, I just want to see who can refuse Mount Myaboku's invitation, who can predict Bunta. Okay. The giant toad clapped its hands together, looking cheerful. Let's reverse summon the kid who signed the contract, and then, take the contract scroll back from his hand. Speaking of the contract scroll, the giant toad looked apologetic. Actually, the contract scroll of Mount Myaboku has been kept by the toads for a long time. Last time, Wu Tai Toad lost the contract scroll when he went out to play by himself. This is his pot. That's why the great Toad Sage's prophecy will involve him this time. Now, you can redeem your sins. Naturally, I am happy. 920. Immortal Fukasaku gave him a blank look. You really like to piss people off. Now that the great Toad Sage's prophecy has been confirmed, don't act rashly, let alone cause trouble, understand? Understood, I will leave the rest to you, old man, and I will withdraw first. Let's go. The scenery in Mount Myaboku is beautiful, and the air seems to be full of aura. Toad Wu Tai quickly disappeared without a trace, leaving only Fukasaku Immortal and Toad Bunta in place. Although Wen Tai has not grown up yet, the temperament of Hey Boss has already revealed 3 points. It held a short sword backwards in its hand. I want to see what that person looks like. What it says is naturally the pupil power user, not the contractor. Immortal Fukasaku smiled kindly. You will meet again in the future. Let's take a look at the child in the great Toad Sage's prophecy first, and let him summon you to go out and have a look after you get familiar with each other. I know. Gamoan replied impatiently, and stuck the knife on the ground on the short sword. There was still some purple liquid, which corroded and smoked when it fell on the ground. Thinking about it, it should be highly toxic. Immortal Fukasaku was pleased. You have improved again, you can already defeat the poisonous snake. Saying so, it urged Chakra to reverse the summoning technique. Episode 84 Uzumaki Mido Sorrow. There was too much movement in Konoha Hospital. Umbu naturally had to report to Hokage, but the content of the report is not just about the big toad. Master Hokage, Jiraiya has disappeared. What disappeared? Sarutobi Hiruzen stared. Umbu quickly reorganized the language. Master Hokage, shortly after the big toad disappeared, Jiraiya, who was depressed, disappeared out of thin air. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the last mirror image on the crystal ball, thought for a while, and then said, back off, it's okay. As a ninjutsu professor, if you don't even know the reverse summoning technique, then you are still a third Hokage. Mount Myaboku Toad, Jiraiya's fate has been sublimated in Hiko. After a few months, Jiraiya just returned from Mount Myaboku. At this time, he is not what he used to be. In just a few months, he has gone from being a crane tail to a genius who can rival Orochimaru. Taijutsu, ninjutsu, chakra, etc., almost all aspects have been improved by leaps and bounds. Jiraiya's ninja way is very simple and real. He becomes stronger just to pretend to pick up girls. He was such a happy realist before he knew the prophecy of the Great Toad Sage. However, the Great Toad Sage finally told Jiraiya the prophecy. Time flies. Jiraiya often goes back and forth between Mount Myaboku and Konoha Village every time he comes back. He will become stronger every time he comes back. He will challenge Orochimaru once, and each will win or lose. Uchiha Hiko and Tsunade are also practicing continuously. His adopted daughter Makoto also grew up day by day, and joined the ninja school in the same year as Tsunade's younger brother Nawaki. However, I don't know why. Nawaki obviously has a very good pedigree, but the aptitude of a ninja is mediocre. On the other hand, Uchiha Makoto, who was supervised by a ghost father since he was a child, was supervised by such an excellent foster father in the ninja school. He is a genius girl who is above everything. Konoha is 29 years old, graduation season. 9-year-old Uchiha Makoto is taking the graduation assessment with other classes. When Uchiha Hiko was in school, the ninja school had already begun to expand the school, and now, it is finally called a campus. The previous ninja school construction was quite petty, like a private school. Originally, as an adoptive father, he had to take part in the graduation assessment of his precious goddaughter. But, at the critical moment, there is an important person who wants to see him. Cross the bustling street and walk into the courtyard with nostalgic design. With a slight glance, he found at least 5 guards in the dark, and the chakra waves emanating from those guards are not weak. The yard was cleaned cleanly, and walking forward, the host's house specially opened the door to welcome guests. Uchiha Hiko took off his shoes and walked in lightly. Unexpectedly, they didn't look for me, but you looked for me first, he smiled, with a gentle tone. What catches the eye is the old Uzumaki Mido. He is still very polite to the elderly, especially Tsunade's grandmother. Uzumaki Mido rubbed the back of his hand, squinted his eyes and smiled. I often hear Tsunade mentioning you. You taught her the self-defense technique of a medical ninja, and you also optimized the 100 healings mark I taught her. Seeing you today, humble is amazing boy. Well, I just did a little bit of my duty, and I was able to learn it because of Tsunade's talent. That child, Tsunade, is really good. Yeah, if possible, I would also like to let her learn wood style, but unfortunately there is no clue yet. Wood style? Uzumaki Mido's voice froze. She didn't know whether it was joy or sadness or anger after a long time. She continued, Are you really only thinking about Tsunade? Hearing this, Uchiha Hiko smiled slightly, and asked back, Is it because you can't perceive my malice, so you asked the question? Being spotted, the aging Uzumaki Mido didn't show much either, still smiled kindly, and said, I didn't expect you to know this. 2 girls grow up to turn their elbows outward. Yes, I am Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Because of Nine Tails Chakra, because of this, you can perceive the malice of others. Now that Uzumaki Mido has a showdown, it means that she has perceived Uchiha Hiko and knows that he has no malice inside or out. Otherwise, I wouldn't say it out, and I still said it in such detail. So, Senior summoned me here, is there anything I need to order? Uchiha Hiko asked. He has been a ninja for so many years, and now he can see into people's hearts even without Sharingan. He could see that although Uzumaki Mido was kind and smiling at this time, there was always sadness hidden in his brows. You are a sensible kid. Uzumaki Mido smiled. Uchiha Hiko quickly sat up straight and said, Senior, please tell me anything, I will do my best. It's not easy for this ninja world to maintain peace for so many years. Recently, various economic conflicts in the village have occurred frequently, and I have seen some bad omens. Not only our village, but also other villages waiting for an opportunity. Therefore, at this time, the ninjas in our village cannot act rashly. I see. Son, how much do you know about the Tailed Beast Jinchuriki? Uchiha Hiko thought about it, and then replied, This should be the secret of every village. I don't know more than others. Oh? However, I personally think that the Tailed Beast Jinchuriki must first have a certain constitution, or to put it bluntly, it is chakra. With the power of the seal, it can basically seal the tailed beast safely for decades. Secondly, I think Jinchuriki's heart it must be strong, or to put it bluntly, it must have ninja talent. I believe that the so-called Jinchuriki is definitely not just to seal and preserve the tailed beast, Modiheo. The existence of Jinchuriki means that the founders hope that ninjas can master the power of tailed beasts, which naturally requires extremely high ninja talent. Uzumaki Mido nodded with a smile. Your understanding is very correct. I am the current Nine Tails Jinchuriki, and I completely agree with your opinion, but unfortunately my body is getting weaker and weaker. I'm afraid there is not much time left. Senior, it's okay, I know my situation myself. Unlike you young people, we old people understand it in our hearts. Yes, Senior, I'm coming to the end of my life, but Konoha's Nine Tails Jinchuriki can't go with me. Someone must inherit Nine Tails. Uchiha Hiko frowned, and asked, Master Hokage should be very clear about this matter, don't you, Senior Nobu? Episode 85, The Country of Vortex. Of course Hiruzen knows. As Hokage, Hiruzen has changed a lot. Uzumaki Mido said, Son, have you heard of the Uzumaki clan? Uchiha Hiko replied, Yes, it is Mido-senpai, your family. Yes, I come from the place called Longevity Village in the Uzumaki country, where our Uzumaki clan originally lived after becoming Nine Tails Jinchuriki. I never went back. Senior, do you miss your hometown? Uzumaki Mido laughed lightly, without expressing any meaning. Or in other words, everything is in the minister who chuckled. If Senju Hashirama is alive, then Uzumaki Mido wants to go back to his hometown, which is a small thing to say tonight and leave tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, my husband died early. Her identity as Nine Tails Jinchuriki has become a cage that binds her. If it wasn't for being able to suppress Nine Tails with hard power, the place where she lives now should be an enchantment cave, not this quiet little courtyard. Hiruzen himself will pick the next child from our family who is suitable to be a Jinchuriki. You don't have to worry about that, Uzumaki Mido said calmly, but it is that calmness that looks sad. Yes, Senior Mido. What I'm worried about is that there have been many ninja forces entrenched around Uzumaki recently, but our Uzumaki clan has only been friends with Konoha for generations, and we have no contact with other ninja forces, so, hearing this, Uchiha Hiko couldn't help frowning again. Many ninja forces are entrenched near Uzumaki? By the way, I especially remember the time when Uzumaki village perished, probably during this period. It is said that it was raided by multiple ninja forces, a clan that had been passed down for hundreds of years collapsed overnight. So, Senior Mito, I can convey to third generation that Konoha's stockpile of troops is already quite sufficient. Excluding the recently strengthened border patrol guards, there should be a lot of combat power. As long as Konoha's ninja team reaches Uzumaki, the siege of the country of the vortex, can be resolved immediately. Uchiha Hiko suggested. However, Uzumaki Mito shook his head and said, the current village cannot send troops to the Uzumaki country once other ninja villages find their whereabouts. Some problems will easily break out in this tense situation. So, I would like to invite you go investigate. Okay, please rest assured, Senior, this matter is on me. I'm very optimistic about you, so you, CDCD, treat this as an entrusted task, and this is your task reward. As he said, Uzumaki Mito took out a box from behind. The box looks quite expensive. If you keep it for decades, at least you can get a sea view room. However, what Uzumaki Mito wants to give to Uchiha Hiko is not just this box, but what is inside the box. The gift from the elders is inescapable. Uchiha Hiko took the box respectfully, opened it, and found that there was actually a big scroll inside. Is this a sealing technique? The Uzumaki family is best at the sealing technique, and it can even be said that the old man Uzumaki Ashina was the ancestor of Konoha's sealing technique. The difficulty of the sealing technique is even higher than that of ordinary ninjutsu. But as a jonin, he still needs to learn the sealing technique. For example, learn a seal of sealing evil, so that it can be used in emergencies. But now Uzumaki Mito puts out such a big scroll. He took a look at the top, and it was densely packed with ghost symbols. At this time, Uzumaki Mito said, you can choose to learn the sealing technique, or you can choose to give it up, but I hope you can master it, because after I die, I am not sure that there are still people in this ninja world who can safely suppress 9 tails. Senior, don't say such things. I'm going to the country of the whirlpool to investigate. Uzumaki Mito is also pathetic. I married into the Senju clan, but in addition to being able to enjoy some blessings during the Senju Hashirama period, when the Senju brothers died, her position in the clan was only 9 tails Jinchuriki. Now that I know that my family may be in trouble, but I can't even send a single soldier, but I have to come here to consider for Konoha village. In the end, he was forced to choose to seek help from the Uchiha clan. In general, what is the relationship between Uchiha and Senju? It is impossible for her not to know. Call Uchiha Hiko over privately, she is a little worried. Fortunately. Uzumaki Mito looked at Uchiha Hiko's leaving back and murmured, there are 3 kinds of luck. First, that child is from the Uchiha family but is different from other Uchiha. Second, he met Tsunade. Third, he is outstanding. If any of the items are missing, she will not be able to do today's work. The country of the vortex. This is a small country in the southeast of the Kingdom of Fire. The country is relatively small. I am afraid that if 2 ninjas fight, they can fight out of the country. Regarding the Uzumaki clan, he didn't have much in mind. Just know a few members of their clan. In this day and age, Kushina should still be a little pudding. Although Uzumaki Kushina and Uchiha Makoto are girlfriends, according to the ninja number, Kushina is obviously younger than Makoto. How much younger, I don't know, but it should be around 2 or 3 years old. Now Makoto is only 9 years old and graduated early, so Kushina should be 5 or 6 years old. However, today he went to the country of Uzumaki not to find Kushina, but to investigate the situation around the country of Uzumaki and the surrounding situation of Uzushio village. Uzumaki village is different from other dainin villages such as Konoha village. Basically, one Uzumaki clan forms the entire village. This family-oriented ninja organization is definitely not as good as a regular village organization in terms of comprehensive capabilities. He did not enter the village, but hid in the surrounding area. Some people like to have a large number around the whirlpool village, so he will have a praying mantis, catching cicadas and orioles behind him. Sure enough, on the 2nd day of his stay, he found a suspicious ninja. Since it was a ninja from Uzushio village, he grabbed it directly and carried it to the beach. Tell me, your name, affiliation, boss. Uchiha Hiko asked coldly. The ninja gritted his teeth and knelt on the ground, but refused to confess. To be honest, Uchiha Hiko just likes this kind of hard bones. If you catch them, you can at least vent your anger. If you encounter some soft bones, you will cry before you start. Seeing the ninja's reluctance to confess, Uchiha Hiko skillfully took out a handful of kunai from the ninja bag. Since you have chosen to suffer, I will fulfill you. Humph, kill me if you can. Hee, don't think that dead people can't speak. Have you seen these eyes? Uchiha Hiko opened the Sharingan of Sanguyu and asked again, your name, affiliation, command boss. This time, the ninja who got the Sharingan hypnosis finally spoke. Episode 86 Passionate Redheads. In fact, Uchiha Hiko should, as Sarutobi Hiruzen suggested, let the Uchiha family enter the interrogation department, so that once the Sharingan is opened, the interrogation target will have to speak obediently. It doesn't take those black coats to invent all kinds of instruments of torture. Come on, tell me. I saw that the ninja who had been attacked by Sharingan's pupil power hypnosis, with blank eyes, knelt on the ground and whispered in his mouth, "Report to the elder, the defense network of Uchiha village has been mastered, and at least 3 ninja forces have been found. They should have the same goal as us." These are the original words that this ninja should have reported to his master, but now being hypnosis, it is said without any psychological restrictions. Elder? Hearing this, Uchiha Hiko paused in his heart and asked, "Have you investigated the other 3 parties clearly?" "It's still under investigation, but I'm 70% sure that they are Cloud Shinobi, Kuzakashi, and Konoha." Hearing Konoha, Uchiha Hiko couldn't help being slightly surprised, and quickly asked in an elder tone, "Konoha? Are you sure? They will do something to their sister country?" Looking at the geography of the ninja world, the country of Uzumaki is a small country, and in the middle of the wave, the surrounding large ninja forces are distributed, that is, Konoha, Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi. At this time, the ninja didn't say Mist Shinobi, so he must be the spy of Yuanin himself. The so-called elders are the elders of Kirigakure. As for the unexpected existence of Chowin, after thinking about it, he understood. Kuzakashi's disgusting ninjas specialize in piracy, and the Wuwei City Lord of Ghost Lantern City can even open the double 4-element seal, that is, the 8-sign seal. There may be some ulterior secrets in the middle. Because Konoha village has different opinions, Mist Shinobi's detective ninja said in a difficult tone. Seeing this, Uchiha Hiko immediately put kunai on his neck. This symptom is resisting Sharingan's pupil power. As expected of a ninja engaged in intelligence at the forefront, the inner defensive ability is so strong, even though I didn't use all my strength, I can't even make you submit obediently with the power of Sharingan. I'm afraid other villages will catch you, and they won't even ask you anything. Come out. Uchiha Hiko gave a thumbs up. Immediately, the knife passed, the blood soars. He already knew all the information he wanted to know. No matter what the 7-point certainty is, in this critical year, as long as you have 3-point clues, you can directly draw a conclusion. Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi, Kuzakashi, so many people are greedy for the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan. That's right, they have the strongest ability and the longest lifespan, but they are willing to live and work in peace in a small country, live in peace and die in sorrow. Looking at the corpse at his feet, Uchiha Hiko glanced around. After confirming that no one notices, it is a fire style to burn it. He was born in Umbu, and it became a habit to handle the dead body conveniently. Well, the current investigation has found such a situation. If Konoha is asked to go to war with Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi, and Kuzakashi at the same time for a small country of whirlpools, Sarutobi Hiruzen will definitely not do it. On the contrary, Mr. Danzonabe willing to do this kind of thing. Uchiha Hiko thought about it, but temporarily dismissed that idea. Looking at the pleasant village in the distance, he couldn't help but want to go and see it. It is said to be a mountain village, but the construction in that village is prosperous, with tall buildings everywhere. At first glance, it is more prosperous than Konoha. In addition to residential buildings, they also have a large number of religious buildings, such as shrines and altars. Asking for flowers. Konoha's ninjas are actually quite popular as they walk on the streets of Uchiha village. In the early years, Senju married Uzumaki, Konoha established diplomatic relations with Uzumaki, and Konoha Shinobi had Uzumaki's logo on their work uniforms. Stepping into this Uchiha village, Uchiha Hiko's first impression is red. It's too red. A large area that catches the eye is red. Red is eye-catching, but the orthodox Uzumaki clan has red hair. "Mom, I want to marry Konoha's ninja big brother when I grow up," said a little girl in the crowd. Marry rich. Is it enough to marry with your sister?" "That's enough, thank you Mom, Mom is so nice." I don't know if it's because people with red hair are more reckless. Uchiha Hiko began to coax, for fear that he would be taken away by the enthusiastic red-haired female bodhisattvas later. However, he still needs to do one more thing. A long time ago, he obtained a wakizashi from Kuri, a weapon of the Uchiha clan. The wakizashi is unpretentious, with a black handle and black blade, which can compress chakra into a high-density blade. After analyzing the system, he also realized that the extremely practical black knife turned out to be the key to a certain ruin in the country of Vortex. However, Heidao is only the yin of one of yin and yang, and the other half is yang, and he has no clue yet. But considering that the ruins themselves are located in the Uzumaki country, then the Uzumaki clan, who are like local nobles in the Uzumaki country, must know something. It is more efficient to follow the melon and follow the vine than to search blindly by himself. Therefore, when he entered Weichao village, he was looking for the current village head to have a cup of tea. Episode 87, The Uzumaki Patriarch Shocked. Uzumaki village has its own ninja force, but there is no open ninja training institution. It is a typical family military system. However, in this Uzumaki hidden village, members of the Uzumaki clan account for more than half. Coupled with Konoha's protection for generations, or Senju's protection, the entire Uzushio village is harmonious and stable, and no one likes to fight and kill. Therefore, the middle and high levels of their clan only maintain a certain amount of ninja training. Do not promote and encourage ninjas, do not reject and oppose ninjas. Abbreviation, Buddhism. Now the Senju family is in decline and has no time to take care of others, but their Uzumaki family is still so Buddhist. 307. This may be one of the reasons why they were destroyed despite having the strongest technique, sealing technique. In any village, it is very difficult to find other people, but it is very simple to find the village chief. Uchiha Hiko is to find it. As long as Konoha's ninjas are not malicious, they can still walk freely in this Uzushio village. Soon, he found the old man with white hair. You are? The old man thought it was just an ordinary Konoha Jonin at first, but when he saw Uchiha Hiko with his own eyes and felt the chakra on him, he couldn't help but wonder. Uchiha Hiko made a slight salute, and then replied, the next Konoha shinobi, on behalf of Mito-sama, came to say hello to you. Water, Mito? The old man was a little surprised. Over the years, Konoha has had many contacts with Uzumaki village, but Uzumaki Mito rarely came to look for him. He thought that the woman died in Konoha. Why did she? Won't you come back by yourself? Hearing this, Uchiha Hiko smiled slightly, meaning nothing other than that this angry old man was funny. Mr. Patriarch, neighboring countries are not neighbors. No one can bear the price of Mr. Mito's bumpy trip, right? This, the old man snorted and hid those thoughts, and then said as a village chief, thank you Mito for your concern, but this sudden visit should not be a special greeting, right? The old man also understands that Uzumaki Mito married into Konoha and became Nine Tails Jinchuriki. They also know that Nine Tails is the strongest tailed beast, so they don't dare to seal Nine Tails in just by finding someone. At that time, the most suitable ones are their Uzumaki clan. However, Uchiha Hiko's task is not to come to them to ask for someone. Mr. Patriarch of the Uzumaki clan, Your Excellency the village chief of Uzumaki village, haven't you noticed some eyeliners near you? Uchiha Hiko asked directly. He knew that the abilities of the Uzumaki clan were not blessed. In many people's perceptions, the Uzumaki family has a long lifespan, tenacious vitality, and a large amount of chakra. But in fact, those are the most basic conditions of the Uzumaki family. Their most dangerous is the sealing technique. Besides the sealing technique, they also have excellent enchantment technique. For example, perception enchantment. The old village chief smiled confidently and said, over the years, there have been many people who covet our Uzumaki clan, but we are not easy to bully. Has your village experienced war invasion? No. Never. Your Excellency, the village chief Hugu experienced. Where does the confidence come from? The village chief Uzumaki, who was full of confidence just now, fell into a stalemate when he was asked this question suddenly. The old man also knows the meaning of talking on paper. If he refute it now, wouldn't it be right? At this time, Uchiha Hiko revealed a shocking news. When I came here, I caught a little mouse by the way, asked about it, and found out that the ninja forces entrenched near you now well, Cloud Shinobi Village, Kirigakure, Chowing Village. If the village chief is confident faced with so much heart, Quan pretends that I didn't say anything, and I apologize to you. Haha, Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi. The old village chief's eyes widened instantly when he heard the name. Those are the ninja villages of two great powers. Even the weakest Chowing village is not easy to mess with. The sum of these ninja powers is enough to trigger a ninja turmoil, and even a ninja war. Where is Konoha? If Konoha knows this information, he will definitely send ninjas to help us. The old village chief was anxious, but Uchiha Hiko shook his head and replied, Konoha still don't know the news for the time being. Then go back and tell Master Hokage, please be sure to tell us that we are in the 43rd hand. I just saw that the village chief is very confident. I don't know how to ask Konoha for help now. Well, barriers have been set up around the village, which can resist quite a few ninjas. But if the three kingdoms attack us at the same time, we can't stand it at all. The old village chief's calves trembled when he thought about the combined army of Cloud, Shinobi Mist, Shinobi Kusanagi. But at this moment, Uchiha Hiko still had no intention of taking action. He looked around, and then whispered, what I said is only what I know. There may be other ethnic groups besides the three ninja villages, for example, many families that you have offended before. Episode 88 Kushina? Plop. The old village head slumped on the ground. What the hell did the Uzumaki clan do? Why do so many people want to FK their little Uzumaki clan? Uchiha Hiko looked down at the head of the Uzumaki clan, and sneered, you must have thought that the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan was the best in the world, and could deter many people, but have you ever thought about who was alive at that time? The Uzumaki patriarch's eyes widened. At that time, who was alive? It has to be said that Uzumaki Ashina, the former Uzumaki patriarch, made a very good decision, that is to marry Senju Hashirama of the Senju clan. But the current patriarch is just eating from the old foundation of his predecessors. It can be said that it does nothing. Otherwise, the Uzumaki clan will not be destroyed. What should I do? Konoha, when will Sleepy Leaf's ninja arrive? Uchiha Hiko looked towards the door 23. It was empty, like Konoha's reinforcements. Most of Konoha's ninjas are hoarded in the north, because Sarutobi Hiruzen and Inoki are not very good-natured, so if you want to come in advance to defend the city for your Uzumaki clan, I'm afraid it's difficult. Hearing this, Patriarch Uzumaki's heart was half cold. Is my family about to suffer a catastrophe? At this time, Uchiha Hiko lowered his head, looked straight at the Uzumaki Patriarch, and said with a smile, not necessarily. Not necessarily. In the cloudy eyes of Uzumaki Patriarch, the flame of hope was ignited by Uchiha Hiko's words. He is obviously the head of the clan, but now he is being teased by a Konoha Jonin. Mr. Patriarch, I want to ask you something. Uchiha Hiko pulled out a black knife from behind his back. Do you know this thing? The black lacquered blade was erected in front of the Uzumaki Patriarch. It was only 10 centimeters away from his face, and it looked as if they would be chopped off at any time. Uzumaki Patriarch applied to look at Heidao nervously. Suddenly his face changed, and he said in surprise, could it be? Could it be another key? Well, it seems that the Patriarch understands it very well. How could this be in your hands? Is it weird? NOI, I'm just surprised. You want to know the secret of the other key? That's right. Uchiha Hiko smiled and said confidently, you can use this as a bargaining chip to ask me any conditions, and I will agree. The Uzumaki Patriarch hesitated, because, unfortunately, I don't have the other key, and I just heard about the treasure. It's just the chatter of the ancestors. In that case, I will take my leave. Say it. Uchiha Hiko turned away. Very decisive. However, just as he stepped forward, the Uzumaki Patriarch behind him stopped him. Don't. Let me tell you the truth. In fact, I have seen yin and yang double blades in the family history records. Your name is Yu. My family used to keep the other half, but it is a pity that many years ago, that the son of Yang disappeared along with the patriarch of the previous generation. The Uzumaki Patriarch said in a low tone. Uchiha Hiko looked at his expression, and opened the Sharingan without any trace. No matter how good a ninja is at deceiving people, he can't escape these eyes. But he didn't see any traces of the Uzumaki Patriarch lying. In other words, the other half of the key was really lost? Okay, that's fine. I'll go back and report the matter to Master Mito, and the rest is up to your own destiny. Finished. Uchiha Hiko tried to leave again, but, again, he was pulled. If Mito could be 10 years younger, it might be useful to tell her, but now Mito is as old as me, so what if I tell her Konoha has been friends with us Uzumaki for generations? I implore you one thing, I hope you can help me. Of course, the reward will not be less for you. Oh? What's the matter? No matter what the Uzumaki kingdom is about to face, I beg you to take my youngest granddaughter out of here and temporarily settle in Konoha village. Uzumaki Patriarch firmly grabbed Uchiha Hiko's cuff and said, if you can promise, I swear I will definitely find what you want at 380 before you die. Hearing this, Uchiha Hiko looked at the old man again. It turns out he still has some guts. It is a correct choice to put a seat out at this juncture. The Uzumaki family has been locked by many eyes now, and it is impossible to move the whole family, and they may be slaughtered halfway. And let a senior Jonin of Konoha bring a little girl, the safety will definitely increase exponentially. Okay, I'm willing to believe the head of the Uzumaki clan, and I also believe that the head of Uzumaki village is an honest person. Uchiha Hiko nodded briskly. He was not in a hurry about the secret of the black knife, so he asked, where is your granddaughter? Where? Please call quickly, I will go back immediately. Seeing that Uchiha Hiko agreed, Chief Uzumaki was relieved. Afterwards, Hikaido, Kushina is my youngest granddaughter. She hasn't become a ninja yet, so I hope you can take good care of her after Konoha. Kushina? Episode 89, incorporate the Uzumaki family? Yes, Kushina, what's your opinion on the name? No. He thought that the old man's granddaughter might be a red-haired little girl, but he didn't expect that his youngest granddaughter was actually Uzumaki Kushina. As far as he knows, Kushina experienced the demise of the Uzumaki clan before being found by Konoha shinobi and brought back to Konoha village. Now that the accident has not yet broken out, it is a good thing for him to take Uzumaki Kushina away in this way. The old Uzumaki Patriarch called to the left and right to bring Uzumaki Kushina. Then, there is waiting. When he met Kushina for the first time, he knew that she was a master who was not afraid of getting into trouble. The old man talked all kinds of things to get her to agree. For this reason, I still go to Konoha village for tourism. However, once he found that the Uzumaki Patriarch's mentality changed from panic to pinning a glimmer of hope, Uchiha Hiko's plan also changed. He reached out his big hand and grabbed the tiny arm of young Uzumaki Kushina like a chick. He pulled Uzumaki Kushina to his side, and then he said to the old Patriarch Uzumaki, Mister, I suddenly changed my mind. What? The old Patriarch was shocked, and the terrifying chakra almost burst out. Don't change your mind any other time. He just changed his mind when he handed his most beloved little granddaughter into his hands. Kushina is so young, and the opponent is Jonin, it only takes one thought to take over her district. Even if he, an old man, is close by, it's too late to save him. Uchiha Hiko smiled coldly, looked at the cute and innocent Uzumaki Kushina, I like the child Kushina, so please rest assured, Mr. Patriarch, I will not hurt her. You'd better not hurt him, or our entire Uzumaki clan. Well. Before the old man could speak, Uchiha Hiko interrupted him. How about we make a deal? What deal? Just like the transaction between you and Senju Hashirama back then, it is better to say that you surrendered to Senju Hashirama than marrying. In the same way, from today on, you Uzumaki clan will also do the same things in the past, but the object has become me. Of course, I like Senju Hashirama, I will protect you Uzumaki clan. Uchiha Hiko said to himself. He's not kidding. Instead, they are using a clan as a bargaining chip. And this clan is not an ordinary family, but the Uzumaki clan that has been passed down for many years. It is a family that was bred by the descendants of Ashura, the second son of Sage of Six Paths. What are you talking about, young Konoha shinobi? The old patriarch Uzumaki was a little angry. After all, anyone would be angry if he said such words. However, seeing the expected behavior of the old patriarch Uzumaki, Uchiha Hiko just chuckled. It doesn't matter what I say, what matters is how I do it. While speaking, he pulled Uzumaki Kushina out the door. Now that Master Uzumaki Mito is exhausted, Konoha's ninjas will never help like before. You are dead, and you yourself are like this. When those tigers and wolves really do something, all that is left for you is to perish. But, I have given you away now. You, the old Uzumaki patriarch gritted his teeth, and only then did he realize that he had fallen into a trap. And it's the kind of trap that has no room for resistance. However, Uchiha Hiko's next sentence surprised him. Just listen, he said, you can't see the prospect of this road at all, so I plan to destroy Chowing Village first to illuminate this road for you. Hidden Grass Village destroyed? Although Chowing Village is small, its comprehensive strength is still very strong. Even if other ninja villages want to attack, they have to weigh it. He just wants to destroy the Kusanagi ninja village? Isn't that what idiots say about dreams? The old Uzumaki patriarch looked at the back of Uchiha Hiko, and in a daze, he saw a fearsome person. He took a deep breath and said in a low voice, if you really have such strength, then I, the Uzumaki clan, are willing to surrender to you. Deal. As soon as the voice fell, Uchiha Hiko, who had just walked out of the door, suddenly disappeared without a trace. Along with Uzumaki Kushina, Uzumaki, old patriarch, can't even perceive it. So, he had to be shocked. I originally thought that Uchiha Hiko was just an ordinary, of Wang Qian's, Konoha shinobi, who came to report a letter, daily greetings, and so on. But as the discussion deepened, I discovered that this child's mind is terrifying, even more terrifying than that BD Sarutobi Hiruzen. But Sarutobi Hiruzen is Hokage, it should be scary, and the young man in front of him is a ninja he has never met, and his exit is so amazing, he doesn't know what to do. To put it bluntly, it means that you don't understand the opponent's strength. Seeing Uchiha Hiko's unpredictable instant technique, he was finally convinced. People who are fast in body flicker technique are not necessarily strong, but people who have practiced body flicker technique to that level will definitely not be weak. Mito, what is the purpose of letting this person come? Go. Episode 90, Mito's Enlightenment. Achu. Konoha Village. Afternoon. Uzumaki Mito suddenly sneezed. This didn't scare the nearby guards to death, so they thought something was wrong. Soon, a figure approached quickly. That is Uchiha Hiko, who rushed back from the country of Vortex. His speed is so fast. The guards didn't stop Uchiha Hiko. To be honest, even a few of them couldn't stop Uchiha Hiko now. The three disciples of Hokage are basically trained by others. Just how strong he is, let's find out. Senior Mito. He stepped forward and said, excuse me, it's okay, come in. Uchiha Hiko walked in gently, and sat down opposite Uzumaki Mito. It seems that Uzumaki Mito hasn't moved since he left and when he came back. Senior, I've done some research. At present, there are three main forces, Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi, and Kuzakashi, surrounding 140 Uzushio village. This is only a conservative number. Well, is that so? Uzumaki Mito frowned slightly, and then stared at Uchiha Hiko for a long time. My child, did you bring something? Uchiha Hiko was slightly surprised, but Uzumaki Mito could perceive this. He confessed, the old patriarch, Mr., asked me to bring his little granddaughter Uzumaki Kushina back to Konoha village, saying that it is a good living offering. Oh? It turns out that his little granddaughter is called Kushina. Hehe, I really want to meet her. Well, if Mito-sama is willing, I will send Kushina to accompany you. She is at my house now. I haven't seen my clansman for a long time. Uzumaki Mito looked a little sad. Uchiha Hiko nodded, and then asked, Senior Mito, you know that there are at least three forces trying to attack Uzushio village. Why, don't you worry? Hearing this, Uzumaki Mito laughed. That was something Uchiha Hiko had never seen before, grinning bitterly. My child, my hometown is going to be buried in the hands of jealousy and greed. How can I not feel heartbroken? But, what can I do now? Every word is heartbroken. Well, the third generation project must be a teacher-student relationship, right? Hehe, my child, is there anything you haven't said about the surrounding information of Uzumaki village? Uzumaki Mido smiled weakly. Uchiha Hiko looked at the kind but sad old man in front of him, and said truthfully, I caught a scout ninja from Mist Shinobi, and used Sharingan to force him to find out some information the surrounding ninja forces, except those few one. And, there are also Konoha's ninjas, right? Yes. I just found out that many Konoha shinobi were acting suspiciously, so I called you and asked you to investigate. You already knew? It's just a suspicion, but now it's really confirmed. However, I believe that the third generation is not such an ungrateful person. Uzumaki Mido smiled, looked straight into Uchiha Hiko's eyes, and said, Little Hiruzen grew up under my watch. Bah, I can tell what he has in mind at a glance. From his personal point of view, it is impossible to make a vortex. Kiyomura doesn't care about it, but as third Hokage, he has the responsibility to make a calm and correct judgment in times of crisis. Uchiha Hiko suddenly realized. Those forces who plan to attack the Uzumaki family say that they are afraid of the sealing technique of the Uzumaki family, which is false, and that they are too greedy for their sealing technique is true. Especially those ninja villages who have tailed beasts and plan to develop tailed beast weapons. Only enough greed can make them launch a devastating attack on a small village at the same time. If you are afraid, you will definitely not do it like you do today. The investigation is so clear, why? And Sarutobi Hiruzen, as Konoha's third Hokage, has to deal with the real ally Uzumaki. Looking at the current situation, Inoki of the Land of Earth is full of ambitions, and Hanzo of the Salamander of the Land of Rain is eager to try. Just these two countries involved a lot of Konoha's troops. Now that the Uzumaki country is under siege, Konoha can only stay on the sidelines. The Uzumaki clan's treasure must not be taken away by any country, no matter what it does. On this point, the opinions of hawks and doves among Konoha village senior management are surprisingly unified. Uchiha Hiko looked at Uzumaki Mido, whose old eyes were full of tears, and said slowly, Senior, if Tsunade knew what's on your mind, he would definitely do something. No, you can't tell Tsunade about this, it's a secret. Forgive me, since your family is going to train Tsunade as the next one, then she has the right to know. Son, listen to my advice in Hashiramas and my wish, Tsunade will be a ninja from Konoha, not from the Senju clan, let alone from the Uzumaki clan. If you do that today, it will waste both of us all these years of hard work. Uzumaki Mido said, shaking his head. However, Uchiha Hiko, who has decided to awaken, is the kind that 10 cows can't pull back. At this moment, a sound of footsteps came from not far away. Sensing that chakra, Uzumaki Mido involuntarily took a breath.